One of my guests once threw this line at me while discussing the Shroud of Turin. Well, there's an article that says we don't know if the blood on the Shroud of Turin is human or animal. Let me stop that right there. That statement is not only misleading, it's dishonest. The data doesn't say that. What it actually says is that the exact blood type is inconclusive because serological methods, the old school way of testing for A, B, or AB antigens, are unreliable on samples that are millennia old. That's a technical issue about methodology, not a denial that this is blood. In fact, the paper even compares the Shroud to Egyptian mummies that also produce false positives for AB blood. And here's the kicker. If this really were a medieval hoax, then why was it so difficult to get a clean reading? So difficult that the author had to put it in the same category as mummies?
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told us.
If you enjoy science and you're open to evidence about my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, make sure to like, follow, and share for more engaging content like this. Here's the problem. Trolls take the word inconclusive and make a giant leap into absurdity. They twist it into, we can't even tell if it's blood. Maybe it's animal blood. Oh, maybe it's not blood at all. But the paper itself and decades of forensic research make it crystal clear. The stains on the Shroud are blood. We know this because multiple independent tests have found hemoglobin, albumin, and immunoglobulins, all unique hallmarks of genuine blood. No pigment, no paint, no dye, blood. Period. Dr. Kelly Kearse was praised by Barry Shorts for his work on the Shroud and is a practicing Catholic. The issue is that the way he presented the data can be severely misinterpreted and lead many NPCs to draw the completely wrong conclusions. The only thing that's inconclusive is whether contamination made the typing look like AB when in reality we can't say for sure. That's the whole story. And in this video, I want to lay out my 3 key takeaways from his papers, while addressing the NPCs who try to spin it with half-baked interpretations. 1. Human versus animal blood. Critics love to throw out, well, maybe it's animal blood, but the actual data doesn't support that. All the identified proteins and markers line up with human blood. The article simply says species origin remains to be demonstrated, which is just scientific caution, not evidence against humanity, and more importantly, there is zero evidence of animal blood. That claim comes from skeptics, not the science. 2. The contamination issue. Every fiber of the Shroud that's been tested is contaminated with bacteria, fungi, and centuries of human handling. That's exactly what you'd expect in a 2,000-year-old artifact. Free radicals, oxidation, and environmental exposure wreak havoc on DNA. That doesn't disprove the blood. It explains why the DNA is degraded. In fact, if this were really a 13th century forgery, the samples would be far cleaner, and we'd have a much easier time pulling an accurate blood type. The level of contamination actually argues for a greater antiquity, not less. 3. Forensic context. Even without perfect typing, the forensic picture is undeniable. The Shroud shows the wounds of a man who endured severe scourging well beyond normal Roman practice, a crown of thorns pressed into his scalp, and a spear in his side. These are not routine in Roman crucifixions. They're unique, unusual, and match exactly the historical record of Jesus of Nazareth's death. If this were just a random crucifixion victim, or worse, a medieval fake, why replicate details no one in the Middle Ages could have invented? And why leave a forensic profile so perfectly aligned with the Gospels? So let's be clear. The headline, Inadequacies in Serological ABO Typing, does not mean no blood. It does not mean animal blood. It does not mean forgery. It simply means serology is the wrong tool for a 2,000-year-old relic. The truth is, the presence of genuine blood is beyond dispute. The unique wounds match the passion narrative in ways that go far beyond coincidence, and the very fact that contamination prevents us from getting a clean ABO result is exactly what we'd expect from a relic of antiquity, and exactly what we would not expect from a neat little medieval forgery. So for all the NPCs who want to say, we don't even know if it's human blood, by cherry-picking the title of this paper without even reading it, shame on you. And furthermore, who the hell cares if we can't confirm confirm if Jesus' blood was AB or not. It wouldn't have been far-fetched anyway, because a 1977 study of first-century Jewish skeletons from Israel found that over 50% of the individuals tested were AB blood type. In other words, his specific blood type doesn't matter. That's why you'll always be called NPCs on my live, because you'll always bring up stupid arguments with little to no context behind what you're even trying to argue. But for those of you who are entertained and engaged and maybe even edified, hit the like, follow, and share for more base content like this. But until next time, the Faceless Prophet out.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told us.